Hello and welcome. Here I'm going to talk you through 34 marks worth of questions on balanced diet taken from the AQA unit BL1, and I'm hoping this will be a series of videos that we can build up over time to look back on. My own classes will be using this to actually self-assess questions that I set for homework, and hopefully they make up some of the listeners to this and they'll be paying attention and actually marking some of the work as I've asked them to do. Okay, question 1. So this question, we've got 8 different foods labelled A to H, and they've tested them to see if they've got carbohydrate, fat and protein in them, and you can see they've got a ticker across indicating that there, whether it's present or not present. So question A1 for 1 mark, how many of the foods contain only carbohydrate? So what we're looking for is each of these foods, looking along the row, which ones have only got a tick in the carbohydrate column, and hopefully you can see there that it's only F and it's only G. So my answer, if I go down there, try and write it fairly neat, would be 2 foods. Okay, the mark scheme actually says it would accept if you put the letters F and G like that, but they are looking for 2 there. Okay, but just to let you know the whole story. Part 2. Which of the foods contain carbohydrate and fat and protein? Okay, so you're looking for the foods now. They've got a tick in every single column, and I can see straight off that that C is one of them. So I'll put a little mark there around that. You can see that's one of them, and looking down I can't see any others, just to double check that. And so coming down there I would put a tick right there because that's for C only. Part B, a person's diet should contain carbohydrate and fat and protein. Give 2 reasons why. And the sort of things you could mention for your marks is we require a balanced diet to ensure that we don't get malnourished. We need these things to release energy, to build cells for growth or repair. I think myself I'd probably be a little bit more specific there, and I'd be saying that we need protein for growth and repair. That would get me 1 mark. And I would say that we need fat for storage and for insulation. And if I needed it, I could mention the fact we need carbohydrate for energy. So any 2 of those, mention a balanced diet to prevent malnourishment. We need it for energy, we need it for growth and repair, or I think myself I'd be quite specific and I would put those there. So the third part of the question, question C, as well as carbohydrate, fat and protein, the body also needs vitamins and mineral ions. Why does the body need vitamins and mineral ions? Okay, that's only a 1 mark question that we're looking for there. So something as simple there as saying to be healthy, according to the mark scheme, will be enough, that you would get the mark for that. You could say to prevent certain conditions such as scurvy, and you get a mark for mention either of those. To prevent deficiency diseases, and that would be enough for that. Part 2, draw a ring around the correct answer to complete the sentence. Compared to the mass of carbohydrate, the body needs greater, smaller or the same mass of vitamins and minerals, and hopefully you would circle there smaller. Okay, that shouldn't take any longer than 6 minutes because it's only 6 marks, and that will be question 1. Question 2, graph-based question. This one we're talking about the effectiveness of 3 slimming programs, which they've labelled A, B and C. The scientists recorded the body mass of 4 groups of volunteers each month for 6 months. 3 of the groups were each given a different slimming program to follow. The 4th group was a control group. The graph shows the mean change of body mass each month for all 4 groups. So the further up you go in this way, the greater the mass that's been lost, and if you go underneath this 0 line, then you're gaining weight. Okay, that you put in weight on, in fact. Okay, so A part 1, what should the control group eat? So they're basically asking what is a control, and what we're looking for there is basically the idea that they're going to be following a normal diet. So the idea that there's no change in the diet, they're going to be eating the same as they usually do, or you could actually say that according to the mark scheme there, you could say they're following a balanced diet. Okay. Part 2 to the question, another 1 mark. Why did the scientists include a control group in this study? So again, forget about the diet, forget about what they're actually investigating. All they're asking you is what is the point of a control group? And what we're looking for there is for you to say something like, we're going to have that so we can make a comparison. Okay, so you compare the control group to the groups that actually follow the diet. So if you didn't say that, you could also say that the test is valid, to show the effect of the slimming programs, to see if the slimming programs actually work. You would not get a mark if you said to be accurate or to be precise, because that's not the point of a control. It is purely for comparison, so we can see if there is an effect. So that's your second mark there. Part B, the 3 groups of volunteers using the slimming programs each showed a similar pattern of body mass over 6 months. Describe this pattern, and there's 2 marks up for grabs there. Okay, so it's not a straight away simple answer. So if I look back at the graph, you can see there we're having a very rapid drop in mass of loss of body mass, I do beg your pardon, and you can see as time goes on though the loss that they're experiencing becomes less and less and less, and at 6 months they're all getting minimal losses there, okay, which is the pattern we're seeing. So what I'd be looking for there, you'd say an initial rapid loss, and that should be enough for 1 mark. Initial rapid loss, if I want to be exact there, I'd actually say of mass, and the second mark would come for saying and then a leveling off or a smaller loss, or the loss of mass decreased. Okay, so we'll say followed by leveling off. And that's your 2 marks that you're going to get there. Okay, just wait for the computer to catch up with me, not quite sure why it's lagging like that. Part 2, all the slimming programs seem to be effective. How does the information in the graph show this? So they are all effective. Let's have a little look back at the graph just to be sure. So looking at the various diets A, B and C, so that's the various patterns they've got there, they all show a loss of mass, and they all have a continued loss of mass which does level off. There are none of these programs which there's no mass loss. Okay, so if I go back to part 2, I would say they all 3 diets resulted in a loss of body mass. And if I wanted to be really, really specific there, I would say compared to the control group. Okay, so again, 5 mark question. We shouldn't be spending any longer than 5 minutes on that, which I don't think we have. So that'll be the end of question. Okay, on to question 3, another 5 mark question. Let's have a look what we've got here. We have a table showing the energy, the various nutrients in a packet of biscuits, and it shows it per 100 grams per biscuit. And we've also got information about how many of each of these adults and children aged 5 to 10 years should have. Okay, so one day a 10-year-old child ate a whole packet of the biscuits. The biscuits in the pack had a mass of 400 grams. The question is, how many grams of carbohydrate did the child eat? Well, we don't know, they don't give us the information for 400 grams, but it does tell us for 100 grams. Okay, so carbohydrate is 62.8 for every 100 grams. So the sum that I need to do here is 62 2.8, and I need to multiply that by 4. And I would recommend you always put the workings in like that, because if you did get the result wrong, at least you could get 1 mark for seeing the workings out there. And the answer that you should get there is 251.2. Okay, so hopefully that is the case, and you're going to get that question right. Part 2. The amount of carbohydrate you calculated in Part A1 was more than the UK guideline daily amount for the child. How much more? Okay, so we need to look, how much should the child have? And if I zoom up there, they should get 220. Okay, so I put my workings here. They should get 220. So I did that the wrong way around. And they got 251. So the sum I should get, I'm going off the page here a little bit, would be 251.2 minus 220 would equal, right down the bottom there, 31.2. And that would be enough there for another mark for you. Okay. Part B. Give 2 possible health effects on the child of eating so many biscuits every day. And the options here are pretty huge, but let's go for some of the obvious ones, and that would be anything from obesity. We could mention tooth decay. And in addition to that, you could mention, because of the sugar content, we could talk about diabetes, we could talk about high blood pressure, heart disease, high cholesterol, possibly arthritis and worn joints as well as a result of the obesity. So any 2 of those, and hopefully that adds up to 5 marks, and that should have taken us hopefully less than 5 minutes this time. We should be speeding up a bit now, and we'll move on.